Hi, I'm Doug Kaler.
And I'm Lee Shaw with Geoprobe Systems, and today we would like to introduce you to the new 3145 GT. And basically what we're going to do is just make a lap around it, talk about the chassis, some of the features, some of the options, and then we'll get here to the front side and we'll go over more of the features and options of the mast and just what really makes this new Geotech rig special. So Doug is going to start here and he's going to just make a lap around it again, like I said, and talk about the features of the machine.
So this particular model has a Moino 3L8 on it. I think this will be the standard pump on this machine. 3L6 is also an option. Just like any of our 31 series machines, this unit has dual hydraulic pumps. The primary pump on this machine runs all your drilling functions, and the secondary pump, all it does is run your mud pump. So no matter what's going on your head, whether you're doing mud rotary, rock coring as you're getting deeper and you keep having to turn your pump up, you're not ever going to lose circulation on your mud circuit that way. So that's something unique to these 31 series machines. So you've got optional on this particular machine, and it has it, is a tank heater for the hydraulic tank. So if you're in really cold climates, you have a heater to kind of pre-warm your hydraulic fluid to help this thing come up to temperature quicker. Hot climates, obviously you have to have cooling fans, so that's what these are. This machine has dual cameras on it. So here's one of the cameras that's pointed towards the side, so you don't have a huge blind spot over here when you're running the machine or backing up. So it also has a backup camera at the back. This is an option, so it's a front auger rack, so you can use this to haul augers, haul your NWJ rods, if you wanted to put a water tank right here, things like that. This is just kind of for you to use whatever you want. Does have a toolbox up here just as well. So we've learned that the more storage we can put on these machines, the better people like them. This particular unit has what we call our 510 tool rack on it. So you have racks here for 5-foot rods right here, and then you have racks across the top that you can lay your 10-foot rods down on top of it, and then a 5-foot toolbox right here for whatever you want to put in here, your water swivels, your hoses, your tools, hand tools, things like that. Around the back of the flatbed here, we also have on both sides, we have boxes right here that you can throw spoons, Shelby tubes, things like that in here. So the end of this rack comes off, so you can slide rods right off the back here. So you can hook onto them, slide them onto the back, and use them as you need. We'll talk a little bit about the carrier itself. So this is a Terramac RT6 carrier. Has a 150 horse Cummins engine in it. This particular unit was ordered with a climate controlled cab, so it does have heat, AC, radio, all those creature comforts that you like to have. The machine itself weighs approximately 27,000 pounds as you see it right here. But with these large set of tracks underneath it, your ground pressure remains very low at approximately 4 PSI. So you still, when you're going across some real soft ground, you're not going to sink in and dig in like you see some machines doing. So this machine, this carrier gives it true off-road capability. So if you need to take off and go on, those guys that are doing pipeline work or possibly those high power transfer electric lines, another place that we see this machine being very beneficial would be like wind farm projects, probably solar farm projects, where you're long distances from hole to hole, where the speed of this chassis comes into play. The top speed of this particular chassis is approximately 6 miles an hour, so you can get from hole to hole very quickly. Plus the chassis is capable of hauling a lot of weight, so if you needed to throw extra tools and things on this just to take off and go, this carrier can definitely handle it. So I think next we'll go back over here to Lee, and he's going to talk over a little bit of just the functions, drilling functions of this machine.
Thank you, Doug. So on this end of the unit now, we're going to talk about and the features of the drill mast and some of the capabilities of that. And really, some of you probably noticed as Doug was making a lap around the unit, you didn't see any outriggers for positioning. So the way we have the mast set up right now, as we unfolded it, brought it down, set it up on the outrigger pads, all the positioning of the mast is done via the control panel. So extend in and out, wiggle, oscillation of the mast, mast up and down, mast dump. That's all done here at the control panel, which makes it really easy and safe to set it up. So we're not relying on 4 corners of outrigger jacks to position the machine and get it leveled up. Again, we're just doing it so that really the design was to have a machine that could quickly unfold and set up and be ready to go, and safely done here at the mast. So we have the mast positioned now, again setting on the pad, and just some features of this drill mast 3100 series is we have a 105-inch head stroke, so our head from the bottom of the stroke to the top, we can run up 105 inches. While we're looking up, this one is set up with the 3 winch options, so you can get it with 1, 2, or 3 winches. Right now we have a 6,800 pound pull in the middle, 2,500 pound pull here to the left, and then 1,100 pound pull, which would be a wire line for rock coring. So it's going to be a little bit faster. We're going to have additional cable on that for your rock coring projects on that. With the tower extended all the way up right now, we have the capacity to hold 20 feet of rod and still be able to get a split spoon above the breakout table. So 3 winches, 20 feet, effectively we can hang 60 feet of rod. You'll notice also at the top, this is a pivoting top on this. So when we're folded up and we lower that down, that pivots down, that actually allows us to lower our transport height to 113.5 inches. So it drops about 15 inches. So on decks that are a little bit higher, we were aware of that, so we wanted to have a feature in this machine that we could get a lower transport height traveling down the road. And the winch is telescoping, so right now we have it extended all the way up. We wouldn't have to run it all the way up, but just for this video and introduction we have it up, but we could actually come down and still be able to operate if it's a height sensitive type of project. Okay, what makes this machine really unique, and again part of the design to be efficient and to be able to quickly go from application to application, is this center line head side shift. So right now we have it side shifted all the way over. Once it's all the way over, now our winch lines will drop right over the hole. When we want to go back to an application, be it either direct push, CPT push, rotary application, or the auto drop hammer, simply from the control panel we're going to activate the cylinder, and then we can side shift the head over. So we have a pointer here, and then we have an indicator mark here: direct push, CPT, rotary, auto drop hammer. So once you're set up on a single hole, you don't have to move the mast or reposition with this center line head side shift. So we really wanted to be able to provide a machine through this design that would allow, again, for quick transition between different applications to make it safe and make it easy. Another thing this allows, and this is a really nice feature with this center line head side shift, is that we are not touching, we're not pulling a cord when we're using our auto drop hammer or manually swinging it over. It's truly a hands-free operation. Another feature, and I'm going to have Doug swing this out, this is a 7-inch clamp with a breakout wrench. So in these rotary applications, once this is in place and pinned, it is directly over the hole that we're operating, whatever application we're doing. As long as we have the head lined up, we're right over the hole, and then this swings in and it clamps right on the center line. Kind of a neat feature. Engineering came up with another great idea. It's just this little holder that we bolt to the end of this clamp, where you can put your drive cap for your drop hammer, an extension here, AWJ, and your spoon. Just a place to put these tools as you're using them. Okay, now we want to transition here into the control panel and talk a little bit about those features. Across the top, we have our winch controls here for winch 1 and 2, and then we have our rotation lever here. We have our head feed up and down. We have our percussion hammer for our direct push applications, and then this is our head side shift. So a lot of the functions that you'll be using repeatedly are going to be across the top here. Here in the center we have our MD3, or our master display. This is going to give us a lot of information from rotation RPM to hydraulic pressures to temperatures to feedback for the CPT controls. Just a lot of information, feedback is going to come from our display, so it's very useful there. Across the sides here, we have, not only do we have manual rotation and manual head feed, then we have built-in detent rotation and head feed. So we can set our rotation, and then we can set our feed for maybe a mud rotary application, or we can go through our digital display and we can set up for our coring controls, flip our switch here to coring, and now this takes our head feed rate and scales it way back, so we can just barely feed that head as we're going down, and then we can set our RPMs also from here. Now you can also, if you want to take it to the next level, is you can get a weight on bit controls where you can actually dial the weight on bit of for your rock coring if needed. So but those are two standard features that are just built into the machine, the CPT functionality and the coring rate control. If we're doing a rotary application for our mud pump, now we have our switch right here, we turn it on, and like Doug had mentioned, that pump is on a secondary hydraulic circuit, so it's independent from the rotation of the head, so we can turn this circuit on and then we can control our flow from off to maximum. So easy to control. Across here, this icon shows it's a drop hammer, so this activates our drop hammer. Auxiliary A for 12 volt on off. Operator presence. This is a safety type of feature. When the machine is running without the operator presence, it basically blocks everything. Once we turn this on, then it activates hydraulic pressure and we're ready to go. Engine RPM. And then across here, another set of manual valves. And I talked about that. These being all positioning, oscillation, wiggle, mass dump, extend in and out, and then fold. And then here we position our drop hammer, and then this is for our telescoping mast and winch. And then our lower control set down here is for our 7-inch clamp. So on that clamp, it is set up with a detent. So when it's clamping, it's a holding force. That force is adjustable over here through this dial, and then we can lock that. This is for our breakout wrench, and then this lever is for our third winch for our wire line. Here we have some additional storage for things like gloves. Put your gloves in there, put your level in there, tools, hand tools. Have a little hanger here if you have a lifting cap you want to hang there. So tried to set it up with just some nice, easy to get to storage for just hand tools. And guys really do like this feature. Be it simple, it's still really a valuable feature. Okay, the heart of this 3145 GT is a Geotech head. And components of that head, this head assembly, we'll start with the drop hammer. It comes standard with the 140-pound slug. There are optional expansion slugs, just depending on what state you're in and what they require. The rotary head here, this one is outfitted with the new higher torque head. So this is a 6-speed head. So we have a low side and then a manual shifter with the high side, and then from our control panel we can shift the 3 gears. So right now it would be 1, 2, 3, shift here, 4, 5, 6 from the control panel. Another option with this is a GH6300 power cell. So this would be the feature that you would use if you were just doing your macro core sampling or dual tube type of environmental sampling, or if you were wanting to drive a casing to maybe set it as a conductor. So this is just a really nice feature to have on a geotechnical machine. It really opens up potential for just streams of revenue where you're not just locked into a geotech machine. Now, if you need to do environmental type of work or sampling of using Geoprobe tooling, now you have the full capabilities of doing that. As I said earlier, we have built-in CPT controls, full complement of anchoring system for this, set up for controls for your 2 centimeters per second once you have the foot anchored, and then your push provision is already built into the head. And then finally, We do have a couple options when it comes to, say you're doing your driven casing and you need to retract that out. We have a rod grip system that hangs off the side and then wedges between this V-block, or we have now an optional drop-down latch that hangs off of these studs to pull rods out.
Okay, that wraps up the walk-around of our 3145 GT. We'd like to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend some time here with us and allow us to introduce this machine to you. We're real proud of it, and if you have any questions or if there's anything we can do for you, please don't hesitate to give us a call.